Thank you, everybody, for hopping on today ahead of our quarterfinal matchup between the Rochester Knighthawks and the Vancouver Warriors. That'll be this Saturday at 10 o'clock in Vancouver. On today's call, we have head coach for the Knighthawks, Mike Hasen, along with forward Connor Fields. There is a possibility that Dan Coates will join, but he was a game time decision. So the fact we haven't seen him yet probably means he won't be available, unfortunately. But if he does hop in, we'll throw him in here. And we'll allow you guys to take some questions at that point. So, when you are called upon, just please make sure you let either Mike or Connor know who's getting the question for who. I'll go ahead and start us off with a couple of quick ones, and then after that, we will go to our good friend Adam. So, Hazer, to start with you. You look at these two teams. I mean, they've got a guy who finished sixth in scoring. You have the guys that finished fourth and fifth. They have arguably the best goaltender in the league. You two teams finished fourth and fifth. I mean, how closely matched are Rochester and Vancouver?
You know what? I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. We're actually pretty well matched. I think. Like I say, they're a little different, so it'll be a bit of a chess match between us there. Like they're big, they're really big, and they're really physical in the back end. We have that ability to be as well. But yeah, our games are eerily similar, to say the least. Again, they get the job done offensively. Offensively, I think our numbers have been better, but it's all thrown out the window at this stage of the game. It's who's going to be their best on Saturday nights.
There, obviously, we talk about Christian Del Bianco and how good he is. How much of his success, not to take anything away from him, but how much of it is a byproduct of the defense in front of him that you guys have to get through?
Yeah, that is definitely part of it, 100%. But again, he is one of the elite. Like say, he's good. He's really good, and yeah, it just bodes to his. It just adds to his ability to make those stops. And again, he's so athletic. He reads well. He's well prepared. And the guys in front of him, put shots in spots where he's going to be successful. So as a defensive group and a core, that's going to be tough.
All right, thanks, Hazer. Fieldsy, I'll just ask you one, and then we'll switch over. So for you, Connor, like you look at the last 2 years that you were here, the Nighthawks were kind of sneaking in at that time to get into the playoffs. Tough game against Buffalo 2 years ago. Tough start against Toronto last season. Does it feel different this year going against Vancouver?
Yeah, I definitely think, us as a group, we've grown a lot. I think we've grown from past seasons. We've added, some great players to our team. But also, I think even just over the course of this season, we've grown a lot just over the course of this season. And, I think we're a confident group, and I think confidence has a lot to play, in the playoffs. It makes a huge difference if you're going into the playoffs confident. In prior years, I feel like we were, kind of just sneaking in, just not that we were just happy to be there, but, I felt like this year we really took that next step as a team. And, I think our goal this year is obviously, like any year, is to win a championship. But, I feel like we have a really good group who's grown a lot from our experiences in the past in the playoffs. But also who's grown a lot from this season. We've learned a lot. We've learned what makes us successful, when we're at our best. And, like Hazer said, it's going to be a battle out there. It's two really good teams, I think. And, it's going to be whoever shows up Saturday night. So, a lot of excitement for it, but yeah, I definitely think, we have grown a lot from prior seasons and learned from those experiences.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, Adam, feel free to fire away.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Good to see you. So, Coach, a couple for you here. Rylan Hartley been playing well. He's a big reason that you guys are in this position right now. He hasn't yet secured his first NLL playoff win. Although last year he played very well. He is a Minto Cup champion, so he knows how to win the big games. What can you say about his readiness and how he's going to be an X factor and what you guys can do this weekend?
Yeah, no, Harsh is going to be definitely a big piece again, because no matter what happens in front of him, what we want to do scheme wise, like I say, we need him to make those saves at the end of the day, right? Where he is mentally and is he prepared to do it? I think we all are. And you know what? And it's not going to be on. It's not just Hearts. It's going to be the entire group, and we're going to just support each other, and we're going to put ourselves in the position where we're, hopefully all of us are going to be successful. And then, and yeah, like some of that experience is, yeah, is duly noted, but this is different. This is the cream of the crop of the lacrosse. There is not, when you look at it, there's not a bad player out there. Junior, you have your mismatches no matter when. MSL, you have those mismatches where you can key on a few guys here. Yeah, we key on a few guys, but they're still good. They're the elite of the elite, and it's going to be up to the entire group to do our job.
So on the other side of the floor, interestingly, with Christian Del Bianco, you just talked about how great he was, and obviously this matchup is different because it's the postseason. But previously, you guys have beaten Christian Del Bianco in all three times that you faced him, and the offense has actually scored 14 goals against him when you guys have faced him. What was able to happen in those games that the offense was able to be so successful?
I think basically it comes down to this: it's them hitting their shots when the opportunity arises. And when he was in Calgary, like I say, those are the times that we played him. They were set up a bit differently. They were built a little bit more to run and get up floor. And again, kind of press out, and again, we've been athletic enough to handle that. This is going to be a different test because like I say, Mouse has kind of followed the Buffalo model. They're big, they're strong, they're physical. They can extend, but they're going to beat the piss out of you to get to the middle of the floor, and that's where you're going to get your biggest opportunities is in the middle of the floor against Del Bianco.
And then, in terms of Del Bianco from a different perspective, looking at your guys' defense and transition with Christian and the way that he gets the ball up the floor, and with a guy like Owen Grant and the rest of the Vancouver Warriors transition, what is kind of the strategy to stop the Vancouver from getting the ball in your guys' half and not letting them make this a run and gun kind of game?
Yeah, it's we've got a bit of a shooting drill where you kind of use that practice where it's called be responsible shooting, and it's up to the O guys to have a little bit of awareness, just to, like I say, play with the 25-second shot clock internally in our head, and as well if we are shooting from the outside, opposites got to read and react, right? So it's we've done a good job. Again, go back to the first game against them. I thought we did a good job against them. But yeah, we are a different team, and they are a totally different team. So it's just like I say, just attention to the details. KYP just making sure we establish when we're on the floor, who's on their floor, and what their tendencies are, and like I say, be responsible.
Thank you, Coach. Connor, just one for you here. What Vancouver has been building, you guys have seen it with some great crowds in Rochester, but what they're building in Vancouver, having some of their best crowds in franchise history, Rogers Arena, a storied building. As a leader on this team, how do you make sure that you guys are ready to face the adversity of what shall be a hostile crowd in Vancouver?
Yeah, it's one of those tricky questions, right? There's no perfect answer for that. For me, in terms of it all goes into preparation. I think when we've been at our best this year is, when we start fast, whether it's, the ball going in the net or, some big stops or, just the little plays, right? Some little ground balls that, get everyone going, some, big hits or block shots or whatnot. So for us, it's being ready to start on time. That's really what got us behind the eight ball last year. In the playoffs, it's just, we had that 5-minute lapse in the first quarter to start the game that kind of set us back 3 or 4 goals. So, for teams like that, and we're lucky in Rochester to have a great fan base. But for teams like that who do have that strong home field advantage. It's just starting on time, making sure, we want to dictate the pace as well, but also to try to, minimize the crowd involvement too, especially early on. So, it's going to be it. I mean, these are the games you want to play in, right? These are the ones that you love to be a part of. And, for us, it's really, we've been talking all week and, seeing things. It's a lot of, like they have great players. I think we have great players too. It's kind of like what Haser says, whoever shows up and wins, or whoever shows up and, plays their best is going to get the win because both teams are great. So, for us, it's making sure we show up on time.
And then just a final question for you, probably the most important question. Is Finn going to be at this game?
I wish we were thinking about it, but it's quite the flight. So, we were like, yeah, hopefully, the goal is to hopefully get a win this weekend and then be able to get him to a game, in the next round. So, obviously I wish he was there, but hopefully we could get him to hopefully we get to see another game this season. That's the goal.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. I'll actually be in Vancouver, so I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam.
All right, thanks, Adam. Let's go ahead and move to Sam, and then I just put something in the chat, everybody. Dan Coates is available now, so if you do have any questions for Coatesy, please make sure that they are directed to him. Obviously, him, Connor, and Hasen are up. So, Sam, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
We're good there, Sam. Thanks. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you. Just curious on the status of Ryland this week. How's he doing?
Yeah, no, he's doing good. He's pushing through. Feels good. We'll have him as a game time decision.
Great. That's good to hear. What can you draw from your experience with this team the past few years? You had last year kind of battled to get into the playoffs. Really, this year, you started slow, but then played real well. And then, and now you're getting into another playoff matchup. But what can you take from the experience that these guys have in the playoffs comparatively to a team like Vancouver, who really hasn't been there, although some of their players have? But in general speaking, what can you take from it?
Yeah, I think it feels you kind of touched on it there a little bit, right? Like we've had two opportunities where, we played against the best team in Buffalo our very first time, and then got trounced, and as did a couple other teams during that season. Last year, we started off slow in 5 minutes, down I think 4-1, and then we were chasing our tails the rest of the game. Other than that, like I say, I thought it was fairly even game. So, and our core really hasn't changed. We've added a couple pieces in the back end, and Tutsi, Medi, Lordy back there. Offensively, other than Graydon Hogg, he was their only addition type deal. So that experience alone, I think, sort of bodes well for this group. Just kind of going through that experience and the way our season worked out this year as well. Again, similar to, I guess, if you look at it, our last playoff game is that, yeah, we started a bit slow, came on really good, really playing really good lacrosse, and we've been playing really good lacrosse at the right time. So I think for this group, we're comfortable and we're confident in that next step. We understand the magnitude of what a one game is, but at the same time, we're really going to focus on, just being ourselves. And I think the last 6-7 weeks, last 2 months, probably last 2 months, right, with a couple breaks, we've done it that way. We've just worried about the moments in front of us, and never let the magnitude of the situation get too big. It's just, we're going to dial in and get that loose ball. We're going to set a good hard pick. We're going to open. We're going to switch. We're going to get on guys' hands. And, and the biggest thing for us is we're going to play downhill. And if we can do that, we're going to give ourselves a good chance. And, that last stretch of lacrosse, we've been doing that. And so I don't see why we don't change. We won't follow it through on just this next game.
And to your point, the way that you guys have played, it's generated a lot of buzz in the community here. What would it mean to get a win this week, and first time ever that this franchise in the reincarnation of the Knighthawks would be able to get a home game if you win this week, guaranteed? What would that mean to you?
like I say, I think it's just a huge stepping stone for this group, and and to give our fans and our family the ability to see us, on another week is great. It would bode very well, but I think just sort of going back to the magnitude, like we're not looking that far ahead. It's we just got to worry about the moment this weekend, and we're going to play our best lacrosse, and we're going to see what happens. See what happens next.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Probably, yeah, thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead and I think Chamberlain, I think you're our only other guy. So again, we've got Coatsy, Fieldsy, and Hazer on here. You're up.
Perfect. Hey, Coach. First question from me. So obviously, Hartley's still a young guy, been going through this back stretch of the season. One of the things that we talked about at different points was you could often tell when he was in the zone before a game because he was just, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm hunkered down and in the zone. Over this course of this last month or so of the season, has it felt like you've been able to make Hartley's preparation for games a little bit more controllable and get him to a consistent point pregame at different stretches throughout this season?
That's a question I don't think anybody will have an answer for, the way his mind works and how to get his mind ready. I think the biggest thing for us is he has his process, and we're going to trust in his process that he's going to be ready to go. Yeah, like I say, we prepare up to, like I say, we prepare all week, and again, we have our conversations at practice. We touch on points. We have our scout. We have our video. Like that's what we do. And then guys got their why, and guys got their how, and we trust in guys' hows and whys. And yeah, especially with him, I don't want to go near him. I don't want to wreck his book.
That's completely understandable. Going back to your point about not overlooking this game, does it being a one and done trip across the country make it easier to not overlook this type of a game?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's just another game on the schedule. Like I say, it's another game that sort of popped up, and we're into week 22 now, which is awesome for this group. And again, I think it's that's the moment we face. And yeah, you know what? And I've always said, like, this entire year we've been good on the road, and I think it bodes well for this group that, especially this time around, like we're all pretty much flying in. We're all flying out this weekend or today, so we're going to be all together for an extra day. And when we're together, our minds get at ease. It's good, it's fun, it's light, but we're getting dialed in as a group, and I think that's really important that we're doing this together.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Connor, for you, I feel like one of the keys always for this Knighthawks team, and it will be obviously based off of the playoffs last year, is that fast start. So when we look at this first quarter, I guess my question to you really is, if you guys are finding posts or different things, just what impact does Kyle Calais have in the first 15 minutes of this game, depending on which way it goes?
Yeah, we're really lucky to have him. I think our I've always said it. Our coaching staff, our management. I think us as players are really grateful to be a part of it. And they make it fun. They always have us prepared and ready. To win. Win games. So for us with him, it's he the plays he draws up. The added boost he gives us on the bench, just when we get off, whether if, the ball's going in the net or not, he's always positive. He's always in the plays he draws up. Like I said, they always seem to work. I'm like, man, how are you thinking of these things? It's just, he's such a smart lacrosse mind. And I'd say that across the board with our coaching staff. And like I said, we're lucky to have them and, be led by them, because that's really where it all starts, with our game plan, and that's how you start fast, is having the right game plan, right? Having the right preparation. And we have all that. And we're, so for us, whether the ball's going in the back of the net, at the start of the game or not, we hope it is going in right away. But, if not too, we want to have a fast start. But, at the end of the day, that we said it's a 60-minute game, right? So for us, it's just being consistent throughout the game, coming out, flying, like Hazer said, setting hard picks, switching, on and off the ball, swinging the ball offensively, big loose balls, assists winning us faceoffs. It's all part of it for us. And we really do, feed off each other as a group. So for us, it's just doing the little things, to start the game. And, we think that will, give us a good result.
Awesome. Thanks, Connor. Coatsy, one of the questions I got asked before you were on was about just how it's maybe a different energy at this point in the playoffs with the way that you guys have gotten to this point in years past versus this season. Can you just talk a little bit about how this group has aged, I guess, over the last couple of years and why it's just a more mature group that's going to be going to Vancouver than went to Toronto or went to Buffalo?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, like Haser said, like this core has been together for, a lot of us for 4 years now. And the last 2 years we've had the experience of playing two, powerhouses in Buffalo and Toronto. But I think, every year you take something, it's a lesson, right? And you have to learn from something. Whether you win or lose, you have to take something from it. And, we took some steps last year. In the offseason, our management coach did a great job of, finding the right pieces, adding Tutton, adding Meddy, Lordy, Braden Hogg has kind of fit seamlessly into our offense. And it just, those pieces just kind of add to our identity of our team, right? Ian Lord has won, Chad Tutton has won. And I think that experience just, the younger guys in the past had to kind of step up into these leadership roles. And these guys come in and kind of alleviate some of that. But I think it's just experience. It's knowing that we've been there. And like Haser said, it's just another game, but the intensity of this time of year is ramped up. And, there's going to be some nerves, but as long as we kind of use that as excitement, I think we'll be fine. It's just, cliche as it sounds, it's got to be one play at a time.
One play at a time kind of leads right to my other question for you. On that offensive side for Vancouver, Keegan Ball's the kind of guy who, when he gets hot going one play at a time, he can get really hot. Just what's the key specifically with him, but as a whole with the way that Vancouver offense operates with just slowing them down?
Yeah, I think, Keegan has been feeling like he's been playing great lacrosse these last couple of years. For him, it's containing him. It's being disruptive. How do we get our hands on him as much as possible, whether in our hands on a cross check, an extra lick here and there. And then obviously, like, they're well structured. Like Mouse is like, they're going to have, set pieces. How are we going to prepare for that? Obviously, guys like Charlene Beatties, he's playing well, Crowley. And then they got some of these younger guys now that are playing well too. So it's, they're going to be prepared. That's, we'll have a game plan and we got to execute it. But, our defense is looking forward to the test. Awesome.
Thanks, Coatsy.
All right, guys. I figure I will do just one last call. Did anybody have questions for Coatsy since I know we started a few minutes before him?
Well, I do just have one kind of quick question regarding Dan. And Dan, you can answer this. It was probably just a joke that you were making, Andrew, but when you said Coates was a game time decision, you meant for this interview, not for the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's important.
Coatsy, I'm sorry. I messed that up. I meant game time decision for the Zoom call. He's fine for the game.
Cool. Okay. Good to know.
All right.
All good.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up then. So I appreciate all of you hopping on today. And again, we will be in action very, very late for the East Coast people here, 10 o'clock in Vancouver on Saturday. So Haser, Fieldsy, Coatsy, thanks for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Yeah, good night.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.